with self-care, you're taking care of a whole person. So think about how much time and energy you put into taking care of your child, or think about how much time and energy you put into taking care of your spouse, or thinking about the time and energy you put into taking care of your job, all the different parts, moving parts of with your boss or your coworkers or whoever, your business. So think about that and how much time, how much energy that takes. Now imagine taking all of that and putting it into yourself. So today's video is just going to be a little update, and we're going to talk about self-care. So it's going to be about self-care, and I'm going to share an update with you guys on what's been going on in my life and all of those good things. So if you're interested in talking about self-care and want to know what's been going on with me, then stick around for the video. But before we jump into this video, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Danielle, and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, we do things like talk about homeschooling, parenting, marriage, family. Did I say parenting? Life, anything that pertains to a life. So if any of that is of interest of yours, then I would love for you to consider joining my family and hitting the subscribe button and liking this video, even if you choose not to subscribe. To the rest of my non-traditional family, you guys are the MVPs, and I love you bunches. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you. So let's talk about self-care, you guys. Y'all, how's this lighting? Like, I'm in a new little setup, and I don't know, because I got this window behind me, and I'm trying to, I don't know. Hopefully, y'all, this lighting ain't too bad. Let's talk about self-care, y'all. Self-care is such a big topic, right? Like, so cliche, everybody's talking about self-care and caring for yourself and all of these things. And I have to admit that when I was younger, like younger, high school and even college, your girl, I was all about self-care, like all about me. And then when I started having kids and got married, self-care kind of got put on the back burner and didn't look quite the same. Like, in my mind, I think I was probably doing self-care. I thought I was back then. But fast forward to today, and I realized that I had kind of put myself on a back burner, y'all. Like, I had literally, like, self-care for me was like down here, and caring for everybody else was like up here. And that hit me heavy in 2020. I mean, like everything else in 2020. It was like full-fledged in my face in 2020. And so I had to really think about, like, what is your definition of self-care, Tanya? Like, what is your definition? Because we all talk about the cliche stuff, right? The taking a bath, the eating healthy, the working out, going to get your nails done, getting a massage or whatever. We all talk about those cliche kind of self-care things. And I think along the way I was doing those things. But what I realized is that self-care is really mentally and emotionally taking care of yourself. Like, that, to me, is the definition of self-care. And in that, you have to be somewhat selfish. Like, self-care really is kind of being selfish, y'all. And I think for most of us, especially if you're a woman and a mom, it almost feels, like you feel guilty in a way. So I think it's easy to consider, like, oh, I'm going to get my nails done. This is self-care, because that's not really being selfish unless, you're taking money, out your kid's mouth to get your nails done. But going to get your nails done, 30 minutes out the day, that doesn't really require a lot of selfishness in it. taking a bath at night, that doesn't necessarily require a lot of selfishness. And so I think it's easy for us to gravitate towards that as self-care. And it's like, oh, these are my self-care things, drinking 8 cups of water or whatever. When in reality, self-care is like taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and even physically. So, yeah, I like realized that I had not been taking care of myself. Like mentally and emotionally, y'all, I was done, like drained and just done. And so I had to really sit down and, like I said, reflect and ask myself, like, what is, self-care? And so for me, that is therapy, having a therapist, having a coach, whatever it is, a spiritual leader, whatever it is, but somebody that you can dump on, because that's what us therapists are, where you dump on us. But somebody that you can not only dump on, but somebody that can help you navigate and walk through whatever emotional or mental things that you have going on. It's easy to have a friend that you can call and vent to or whatever, but that friend a lot of times is not going to make you go deeper. And I think going deeper provides self-care. I hope that makes sense. So I quickly realized, like, okay, I have to take care of myself. Like, I haven't been taking care of myself emotionally. Like, I haven't been taking care of my mental health. I haven't been taking care of myself physically the way that I need to, outside of like, oh, you need to work out and lose weight. So in Rose 2020, that just highlighted those things for me, not only because of everything that 2020 was, but I also had a baby, and I have never suffered with postpartum until this baby. And I think, for me, it was more so that I had not been taking care of myself. And then I have a baby, and all of it just came to head for me. With Trice, I hadn't felt like what I felt with Trice. I felt that a little bit with Jaden because I lost my grandmother, and, I graduated from college and I lost her, and my relationship with my now husband was a hot mess. And so, I felt all those things with her too. But again, it was the things that were kind of going on. And so you could kind of say that with Trice too, because we were in a pandemic. But I think the difference with Trice is just that I hadn't been taking care of myself. I hadn't been providing myself with self-care. Like, sure, I would go get a massage, or sure, take a bath here and there. Yeah, I have been doing those things, but I hadn't been taking care of myself mentally and emotionally. So, yeah. So with that being said, here's the update. I decided at the end of 2020 that I was going to focus heavily on myself in 2021. Like, I was going to be that girl. I was going to be selfish. Like, I told my kids, I sat them down and I'm like, I am not in a good space, and I'm going to spend 2021 like really focusing on me and myself and my mental health, and just really diving into like what is going on with me emotionally. And that is going to look a certain way. I'm going to be clearing out some things that's taking up space in my life, and that's not bringing me joy. And I'm going to be changing what parenting has looked like, over the last few years, or whatever the case may be. So I really just sat them down and told them that there was going to be some changes taking place. For my husband, I let him know, like, I'm just not in a good space. Like, to the point, y'all, where I was like, do I even want to be married? Like, do I want to be married? Like, I just was given so much of myself that I almost felt like you know, it's kind of like the Get Out. When I'm trying to think of like how I can explain this, you guys, if you've seen that movie, and you know, when he's in the sunken place, and then, you know, there's like somebody else like controlling, but you're still in there. I don't know if that's a good, but that's kind of how it was for me. It's like who my core, she was in there, but like this girl was up here like navigating her life, and my core self was like just drowning, y'all. And I know that feeling because I've been there before. Like I've been in that space before. I wrote a whole book about it called Arrive. So I knew that feeling. And I was like, I can't, like, before this gets way out of control, 2021 is like, it's going to be about me. So at the beginning of 2021, in March, was it March? No, February. In February 2021, I went to Nashville and I did a weekend retreat for TM meditation. So Transcendental Meditation. And so that's a 4-day class, course, whatever you want to call it, where you learn how to do transcendental meditation. I'll leave a link to, you know, where you can get more information on it if you're interested. But essentially you meet with I guess a mentor, a guide, a meditation coach, and they give you a mantra. So you meet with them and then they give you a mantra and you learn how to use your mantra. And you would essentially spend 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night meditating. Now, I've always been an advocate for meditating, strongly believe in it, and have tried different types of meditation, but I've always went back to transcendental meditation. I've always wanted to do transcendental meditation, but again, y'all, putting myself on the back burner. I didn't want to pay for it. I didn't want to take the time away, you know, to do it, and came up with every excuse in the world. And I realized, girl, you gotta be selfish. Like, they gonna be all right. They gonna be all right. So the good thing and the cool thing about Transcendental Meditation is they now, because it's a nonprofit, they now offer tiers. So they offer income-based pricing because, y'all, it was expensive. But now they offer income-based. And one of the silver linings with 2020 is that put us in an income bracket where I could afford it. So silver lining, right? Silver lining. But yeah, so with 2020, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take advantage of all that you have given me, 2020. So yeah, so I signed up to do the transcendental meditation, and it was amazing, you guys. Just having that 4 days, learning this skill and process, and being able to take 20 minutes every day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, and just settle myself. And learning how to navigate through meditation, understanding thoughts and where they're coming from and things like that. And just giving myself a little grace with understanding how that whole meditation process works, and gaining a new skill. I'm all about gaining new skills that can make me a better me, make me a better person. And so for me, that has become essential self-care. To me, meditating is a physical, a mental, a spiritual kind of thing, because physically, it allows my body the opportunity to just settle, you guys, to just relax and just breathe and calm just my entire nervous system. So when I think of physical self-care, that's what I'm talking about, like just allowing myself the time to just settle. I struggle with anxiety, and so yeah, while you can work out and get those endorphins, I needed something that could settle me. And so that is what Transcendental Meditation has provided for me. So I did that in February. And then in March, I got an amazing opportunity. If you follow me on Instagram, I post briefly about this. I didn't go into a whole lot of details, but Susie Batiste, the owner and founder of Poopery, she has this 8-week long course called a LiveOS. And again, I'll leave all of these things linked below for you guys to dig into. But it's an 8-week long course where you dive into becoming more alive, like learning things about yourself, learning how to live alive, how to actually be alive and just be free and a happier, better version of yourself. And so she offers, she had a giveaway on Instagram, and she also offers scholarships for minority women. And so I applied for the scholarship, not thinking that I would get it. I mean, honestly, I tried to do the giveaway on Instagram as well, didn't get that. So kind of applied for the scholarship, not thinking that I would get that opportunity. And you guys, I got the scholarship. And so one of the things she talked about was during the 8 weeks, alleviating any type of intake of negativity. And while I pride myself on my Instagram being full of positivity, and everybody that I follow, everybody that I kind of keep in my circle are positive people in general, they tend to post wonderful, beautiful things. That is one of the things that I love about Instagram, is that it's pictures. And I find that people tend to take the prettiest pictures. Like, your house could be an entire mess, and you're going to find that pretty corner to take a picture of. And while some people don't like that and they talk about false reality, I see that as finding beauty in the chaos. I see that as finding beauty and what some would consider the ugly or whatever. I appreciate that about Instagram. To me, it's people are taking the time to find just the good in their life, however you want to see that. And so because I know that that's not people's reality, I'm able to see it that way. Like, that's my perspective. Anyway, I decided to step away from Instagram for the 8 weeks, because even though most of the things are positive that the people I follow post, there are those times where, the news will creep in, and I don't watch the news, you guys. I just don't. Another thing about me that you may not know is I'm an empath. And so when I watch things or take things in, like, I feel it in my spirit, in my body, in my soul. It will make my anxiety go up. Like, so I don't watch the news at all. And so there are times when things like that will come up on Instagram. Or sometimes, people are just venting about their day, which I think is perfectly fine. But I just wanted to make sure that with this opportunity that I focused myself 100%. I wanted to give 125% to this opportunity, because I feel like it's an amazing opportunity that I've been given. I love Susie Batiste, her story. She's a woman, she's an owner, she's a founder, she's a mom, and her history, her story, if you don't know anything about her, I encourage you to just read up on her, listen to some podcasts with her. So I had already been a fan of hers and kind of saw her as inspiration for myself. And so to be able to work with her in real life and have this opportunity, I didn't want anything clouding this time. So this course has become self-care for me, and navigating through it, finding things that were deep, deep down that I didn't even know were there, learning things about some of my belief systems and some of the things that I have been carrying around with me, some of the reasons I parent the way I parent, or I operate the way I operate, or whatever, you guys. Like, I've learned so much. And so through that process, I have started hypnotherapy. So you guys, if you know, I always talk about therapy because that's my background. And I am a believer in therapy, a believer in having a coach. And so I've had therapists in the past. For me, though, it's hard. Like, I have to have a very good therapist because I'm a therapist, because that's my background. I tend to know. So when I'm in the room with a therapist, I know where you're trying to go with that. I know where you're trying to go. And so it becomes hard for me. Like, I can navigate that room real easily. I can decide what I want to give you and what I don't want to give you. And so that's why I opted for the route of hypnotherapy this time around, because that's foreign to me. I don't know a lot about hypnotherapy. I know it works, but I don't know a lot about it. I believe in it, and I needed to be in a state where I couldn't control what I was given. I couldn't control the emotions that were going to come up for me in the session. And so I've started doing that, and it has been amazing, you guys. Talk about self-care. This is what I'm talking about with self-care. I had some things in me. Like, I've done some work, y'all. I've done some work. Again, if you've read my book, you know I've done some work. So, but I still had some things in me that I had no idea, like, subconsciously, these things were like guiding me and leading me and directing me, and I had no idea that they were there because I hadn't done the self-care. Like, I hadn't done the hard work. And again, that's what I mean by self-care, because again, we can go get our nails done, we can take a bath, we can get a massage, we can do all the things, we can drink matcha every day, which is what I call, self-care. But that isn't self-care. Like, self-care is getting in there and like cleaning all that stuff up, like going deep. To me, that you have the surface self-care, right? And that stuff is taking care of yourself. It's upkeep. That's it. That's the word. Those things are upkeep. But before you get to the upkeep, you need to like clean this stuff up, right? The upkeep can also be overshadowing what's really going on. You know what I mean? You can go and be getting your nails done and facials or whatever it is that we consider self-care, and that's just covering up what's really going on. Like, that's just, painting over the real self-care that you need, the real work that needs to be done. So are we really caring for ourselves when we're doing kind of these surfacey things? As a mom, for me, you guys, as a mom and a wife, sometimes those surfacey things, I'm going to stick with the kind of cliche traditional, bathing, facials, getting my nails done kind of things are just a breather. It's like, okay, I just need a minute. I need an hour to just do something for myself, right? But it's not really caring for my emotional well-being, because my emotional well-being, like, I'm caring for everybody else's emotional well-being. My kids, if my kids are hurt, if my kids are sad, if my kids need to go to therapy, if my kids are dealing with being bullied or depression or all the things that is going on with them, I'm given to that. And I'm not thinking about, well, how is this affecting my emotional? How is this affecting my well-being? I might just be like, Woo, child, they drove me crazy today. Let me go have a glass of wine, because that's self-care. But is it really? Is it really self-care? No, because what is going on with you? What is going on that they drove you crazy today? So that's what I mean by that self-care. Being a wife and giving yourself to another person, because as a wife, you are literally giving yourself, you guys, like all of yourself, your emotional, your physical, your mental, all of that is being given. When you're breastfeeding, it's kind of the same thing, y'all. And so while we can recharge ourselves by taking a bath, re-energize ourselves by going for a walk or a run or whatever, that doesn't really go down and give us an opportunity to talk about how we're feeling, right? Are y'all following me on this? Am I making sense here, y'all? And so this hypnotherapy has provided me an opportunity to just talk about my feelings, my emotions, like what is going on for me, what's going on for Tanyelle, like what's in her pit. And so that is another thing that I have started doing. I am 4 weeks into it, and I'm loving it. I might be like addicted to this thing as I learn more and more about me and my subconscious, and how I move and shake and things like that, and it explaining like my pet peeves. Oh, that's why that's a pet peeve for me. Or like I mentioned earlier, just me saying to my husband, like I don't know, do I want to be married? Like, let me rethink this thing. But understanding like, oh, that's where that's bubbling up from. That's where that's feeling is coming from. Because again, I can recharge myself and then come back and be the best wife. But I didn't figure out like, what was it that made me need to go recharge? Y'all feel me? Like, what was it that where I was like, I need a minute. You know what I mean? So I'm learning all of that through this hypnotherapy. And now I'm able to shake and move in a different way. I'm able to talk to it in a different way. I'm able to explain things in a different way where I wasn't able to explain before. And I'm able now, you guys, to care for myself differently. Like my self-care may look different a little bit. For example, with the meditation, like that's my self-care. The room that I am sitting in, this is my new room. It's my room, this is, I call it my dungeon or whatever. And so I combined some of my kids, and what I would have normally done is I would have made this a playroom or a schoolroom. And I still have all of my computers in here. So the kids will still come in here and do like whatever work they have on the computer in here. But I've made this like my space, because I'm learning that that's important. Like that's self-care for me. You know what I mean? Like the way I'm caring for myself is a little bit different than what it was before. Being able to do groundwork. So me spending a day like outside just without shoes and walking in the grass and being able to literally ground myself has become self-care for me. The other thing is not doing anything that I don't want to do. Sometimes as a mom, and maybe it's just me, we find ourselves not just as a person, right? A mom, a wife, a woman, a person. We find ourselves doing things that aren't harmful to us or aren't bad, but we just don't want to do them. You know what I mean? We just don't want to do it. And we will do it because, for the greater good of the whole, right? Or it's not hurting me to do it. Well, I've learned that it is hurting me because I don't want to do it. So self-care for me now has been no, sorry. I have no interest. I don't want to do it. And that's from anybody, from my kids, my family members, whoever. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I don't have to even give you a reason. I just don't feel like it. And that's enough. And and that has become self-care for me. Like, it's selfish. Some people may consider it selfish, but self-care is selfish because it's about you, right? That's what it's about. I'll give you an example. I made me a smoothie last night. And I had cooked dinner for everybody. I made myself a smoothie and I sat down and was, sipping on my smoothie. And my husband was like, "Oh, thanks. No, I didn't want one." I was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "Oh, you gonna make me one?" "No, I'm not." And it was like, "Man, that's messed up. You're not gonna make me one?" "I'm not. But the blender and everything you need is right in there for you to go make you one." And would it have hurt me to go make it? No, would it have been a thing for the greater good? Maybe. But the reality is I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to, so I didn't. And that for me is self-care, you guys. Like, I'm in a space of like, it has to feel good for me. It has to flow for me, because one thing I've learned, nobody is going to take care of me like me. Nobody can, really, you guys. Like, people can try, but nobody can take care of you like you can take care of you. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's another one of my self-care is, I'm not, I don't feel like it. Another thing is protecting my energy, protecting my space, protecting my time. So what that looks like is, I'm not here for the complaining. I'm not here for the sad stories. I'm not here for, the griping or any of that. Like I'm okay with, if you need to just get something off your chest, that's fine. But at the end of that, let's sandwich that. So, okay, we're gonna vent. Now let's toss that around. Let's spin this thing. Let's find the silver lining. Let's find a solution. That kind of thing. So self-care for me now is protecting the energy around me. So I only want people in my space that can take me to another level. I don't want to operate down here. I don't want anybody in my space that's not trying to vibrate at a higher level. Just kind of, you have those people, right? Whether it's friends, family, coworkers, that just find the drama, right? Like, they just, like, they thrive off of the drama and just the complaint. I talk about this in my book. Just the chronic complainers, where they're constantly complaining, or the people you call, "Oh, how are you?" "Oh, I'm making it," or "Oh, I'm whatever," and it's like, I just no. So self-care for me right now is really protecting my space. So I've been very cautious of who's in my space right now, who I'm talking to, who I am sharing my energy with. I've been very, 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 very cautious. I'm almost like, I'm treating myself like a newborn baby. You know how with your baby, you protect that baby. You don't just let any and everybody hold your baby. You don't just take your baby into any and every environment. You don't just drop your baby off with people. That's how I am with my energy right now. So that is now self-care for me. So self-care for me, in a way, it just looks different. it's really more so about protecting my space, protecting my emotional, protecting my mental, protecting my well-being. So yeah, I'll give you guys another example of like, I'm not, so I jump rope now, and my girls, they jump with me now. And so yesterday they were like, oh, are we jumping? No, mommy's not jumping today. And it's like, oh, really? Well, I mean, you guys can go jump. You're free to do it. I don't have to do it with you. And today we usually jump for like 30 minutes. And today I was like 10 minutes. Like, I'm only jumping 10 minutes. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, well, why? Why are you? I'm like, because that's all I want to do. Like, I only want to jump for 10 minutes. And I ended up jumping for like 20. But because I honored my feelings, because I honored that feeling inside of me that was like, I only want to do this for 10 minutes, because I honored that feeling, and that feeling was able to bubble up and become a reality. It was like, I feel good. So after the 10 minutes, I felt good. There was no obligation. There was no force. And so I was able to give another 10 minutes, you know? So I'm learning that by honoring myself and honoring my feelings and honoring my emotions and whatever it is, no matter who gets hurt by it or offended, it liberates me, and I'm able to give more. So being me and being free and honoring those things energizes me. You know, does that make sense, y'all? So while yes, you know, drinking a matcha every day or having tea time every day is maintenance of the honoring of myself. So I need to first fix these feelings, and then tea time honors or maintenance, you know, it's the upkeep, the maintenance of that. So y'all don't know if none of that gonna make sense, but I hope so. I hope so. So that is what's been going on with me here as of late, which is why it's been extremely difficult for me to do videos. I am like, I am constantly in some form of meeting or something. So between my 40 minutes a day of meditating, doing my hypnotherapy sessions, going to my courses with Susie, because that is twice a week. We get homework and all of that. So doing that. And then on top of that, I still have 2 businesses that, you know, I'm running. So between doing that, homeschooling my kids, and just navigating life with my family, it just has left virtually no time, which is one of the things about self-care, you guys. When you're literally self-caring, it's time consuming. Like it, because you're taking care of a whole, think about it this way. With self-care, you're taking care of a whole person. So think about how much time and energy you put into taking care of your child, or think about how much time and energy you put into taking care of your spouse, or thinking about the time and energy you put into taking care of your job, you know, all the different parts, moving parts of with your boss or your coworkers or whoever, your business. So think about that and how much time, how much energy that takes. Now imagine taking all of that and putting it into yourself, because that is really what self-care should look like. Self-care shouldn't be an hour a day. Self-care shouldn't be 30 minutes out of the day. Self-care shouldn't be 15 minutes. Like, that's not real self-care. Because if I only tended to trice an hour a day or 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, I mean, my poor baby probably would not be breathing. So I envision, or for me, what I'm learning is that self-care is the same as infant care. The same care that I'm giving to Trice is the same care that I need to give to myself. So self-care takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. But because it's going back into yourself, the energy is rebooting you. So it's not energy being sucked out of you, it's energy being put into you. So yeah. So that's it, y'all. That's my update, self-care talk or whatever. Hopefully it all comes together. So that is my update and my little self-care talk. If you guys have any questions about anything that I've talked about in this video, if you want to know more about the Transcendental Meditation, or want more information on hypnotherapy, or want to learn about maybe taking Susie's course yourself, because it is open to, I think, everybody when she does them. Of course, I'll have all of the links to these things down below. But if you want me to go into more detail about my experiences or the processes, or just anything in general, you guys, feel free to leave them down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on self-care. Am I crazy, y'all? Like, I would love to hear what y'all think about all of this in self-care, and the notion that, the things that society tells us is self-care, is really not. It's really like, y'all, what's the word? What's the word when you're, it's like a blanket. What's that word? It's not really what it is. It's like a cover up. Y'all, y'all tell me what the word is. But self-care is they tell us that these things are self-care, but that's really not self-care. Tell me if that's what you think. If you think that, no, that is self-care, or if you feel like self-care really is like this deep-rooted thing that takes a lot of our energy, a lot of our time, and putting back into ourselves. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that as well. So that's it, y'all. That's my long talk video on self-care and my update. So thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, y'all. And to the rest of my family, for real, y'all, I love y'all. Y'all feed me. You feed me, and I love y'all. Thanks for hanging in there with me as I navigate self-care and take care of myself in 2021. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.